Right guys, we have Usernamedad here. Say hi Dad.
Hi Dad.
Not literally, okay. And here we have his R1250 GS TE in triple black. And then next to it we have the Triumph Tiger 1200 GT Explorer. So these are both top spec bikes. And to be honest Dad, I was a little bit torn whether to do this because I don't know whether the GS 1250 is the competitor. I don't know whether it's that or whether it's the GS Adventure.
I'd probably say it's the Adventure, to be honest.
You would?
Yeah, because don't that have a 30 litre tank? That's got a 20 litre tank.
Yep.
Adventure's got a 30 litre tank.
Correct.
Yeah.
The Triumph has the 30 litre tank. You have the auxiliary lights as standard, so they're not an extra. And then you've got the crash bars, and that is kind of like the main differences between the GS Adventure and the GS.
Yeah.
But this is the closest that I have in order to do a comparison. So
one comes in clean and shiny.
Hey, Mike's jet washed this today.
All right. You could come down and do mine.
So Dad, first impressions, have a look round it, get close, up close and personal.
I mean, it's a bonny looking bit of kit.
Yeah.
I think.
Because I know that you are a GS man. Like, you just love your GSs, don't you?
Yeah.
But just looking at this from what's the word? An objective point of view, maybe? A non-biased one.
Yeah, I think with these sorts of things, I mean, yeah, I think now they're all very much of a muchness. I mean, it's like with cars, isn't it? They all take bits off each other, and
yeah.
In the end, a Micra looks like a Yaris, looks like a whatever.
Yeah.
You know, they're all the same sort of thing. I think bikes, obviously, there's only so much you can do without going like mega radical.
Yeah.
But you look at this lattice frame again. You know, it's that kind of thing. You got the lattice frame. The seats could go off that onto the GS.
Yeah.
You know, the rails at the back. All right, mine's got the Jubilee plate on type, but they're very much of a muchness. The tanking, the panels, like this idea. They look a chunky switch, but they're pretty easy to get to, aren't they?
I suppose you've got yours, haven't you, here, just hidden of your netting.
Yeah, but that looks a better switch. That looks more.
Do you think?
It's more chunky. Great if you got your gloves on, I suppose.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, with your big chunk on, you got big bread hooks like mine. It's
bread hooks.
You know, it's
Well, that's another thing. So, like this bike. In fact, I'll just tell you what this comes with. So, you've got a 7-inch TFT on this, and then I think you've got a 6.5 inch, something like that on this one. TFT, both TFTs. This one, you've got your heated grips as standard here, which come with the...
Again, picture yourself with a big pair of winter gloves on. And you're fanning about with this little switch on here.
Yeah, I do find that switch quite small, to be honest. But one good thing is the heated grips on this are pretty good, because I have ridden some Triumphs and they're absolutely like...
No problem with them heated grips on there.
Yeah, so them heated grips are scorching. These are actually scorching, but on some Triumphs like the Tiger Sport 660, they were like lukewarm bathwater.
I mean, it's like on that one, when you're riding along, the heated grip switch is on the top of your handlebar housing on that side.
On your throttle hand.
I mean, personally, I don't know whether it's a police thing because you're doing everything with your left hand or your levers and or your switches and everything like that. But I would have liked a bigger heated grip thing on my GS on this side.
Yeah.
So I can do it with this hand when keeping the business end going with this hand.
What do you think about the screen adjustment on this? Give it a go.
I quite like that screen adjustment because that's a fiddly thing. Because again, on that one you're leaning forward and you're doing that, and you got to wind it. But with this, literally, it is.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to know how long the plastic, if you kept doing.
Yeah. How durable the teeth are.
How strong is the plastic on it?
So heated seats come as standard on this, but on the GS's and GS Adventures I think it's £245.
Big chunky controls.
Yeah.
You know, like I say, look at it, it's great when you've no gloves on. With your gloves on and whatnot. Yeah. Good, nice controls.
Do you think it feels to sit on, does it feel more like a GSA or does it feel like a GS? Because obviously you've got the kind of wider shoulders with it being a 30 litre, but I think it's disguised well, that 30 litre tank. It doesn't seem as bulbous.
That's what I was looking at before when I was stood at the front, the width of them.
Yeah.
Looking through. Like I say, it doesn't seem as bulbous.
But because it's not as bulbous, does that mean that a lot of the fuel weight is held a bit more up top?
Well, again, when I was looking at the front, I was looking at the engine on this. Obviously, on your GS's, it's a lower down engine. This is a higher engine, obviously, because of what it is. And it does make me wonder whether this is, I mean, I've never ridden this, I've only sat on it like this now. Makes me wonder whether this is probably going to feel a bit more top heavy.
Yeah. I personally do find when I ride the Triumph that for me to get it off the stand and stuff like that, because it's already quite a tall bike for me, it is heavier in my opinion to lift off because of where the weight is. Now Triumph said they've improved it on this GT Explorer for 2022, but I just don't think that you can kind of hide where the fact that it's just a triple, that's just where the weight is.
I'll be honest, these were both on the side stands. I put them both on the main stands and I didn't feel any difference.
Oh right, that's interesting.
But again, I've got 17 stone pressing down on that pad and it'll flit it up easy. So, but personally, from, like I said, 17 stone bloke.
Yeah. And this has got close to a full tank as well in it at the minute.
So yeah, that wasn't a problem. Like I said, I could envisage problems maybe manoeuvring it around, people drop them when they're manoeuvring them around. That's quite a low centre of gravity. This is a lot higher. Whether that'll make a big difference, I've no idea.
It's a shame that you're not insured on it. We'll have to sort that out, won't we, Dad? And then we can get out on a ride and do some swapping.
Well, yeah.
Just so that you can get a feel and see what you think.
We'll get that, yeah.
So in terms of seat height, it's the same seat height. So you've got 850mm on the lowest setting and 870mm on the tallest setting, which is exactly the same as the GS. Now, admittedly, the way to change it I find a lot easier on the GS. There's like a rubber band system on this to swap the heights.
I mean, things like this, like the mirrors and whatnot, they look a bit more agricultural than, like, no, all right, they've got the fancy.
Because you've got the fancy triple black ones.
Yeah, but they look a lot. I would describe a lot of this on here is like belt and braces stuff, like proper British. Right?
Yeah.
You know, it's built to last and it'll last type of thing. And like with these, they're meant to last. What are these things?
So
they're not fancy reflectors and all that.
So these actually light up.
Like
it's
on
like
a car on a wing.
Yes, so it's a blind spot detection, which I've used it on the motorway, and if you're just like cruising along
in a daydream,
it does flash, and it's not distracting, but you do notice it, and it's like, oh, there's something coming up, because the radar is at the back. I'm not quite exactly sure whereabouts it is.
But the mirror's not so bad.
Yeah, you can do shoulder checks and stuff like that, I guess, so is it really necessary?
I mean, if you got these, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's an aid to safety, so...
Yeah, comment down below if you think they're a good thing or not.
They light up orange, I take it?
Yeah.
I mean, it looks a bonny bike.
Yeah.
You know, it's... I'd be happy to ride one, by all means. Yeah, like I say, I'm a little bit biased, but...
Yeah. But you'd be intrigued to see what this one's like. Do you know what, I'll tell you what I did feel when I was riding it? It's very strange to jump on an adventure bike and when you brake have the front dive. Yeah. Like, I've just got so used to the telly lever suspension just doing its thing and sort of keeping it level.
I was just going to say, what does that feel like? I mean, alright, you've got a GS and you know to hook it around. What is it like when you... Well, you know, you might be hooning along, do you? But when you're riding along, you've got some nice twisties and you're going. Can you feel that? Can you feel top heaviness, or does it just feel neutral?
Yeah, it just feels neutral. Like it doesn't feel top heavy. In fact, it feels really, really nimble in the bends. Now, I haven't ridden a GS sort of back to back with this thing, but I was really impressed with, like, you know, going in the corners and just flowing.
Yeah.
It's got a really, really skinny back tyre as well. So it's got a 150 rear.
These not rattle about when you ride it?
So I don't find this rattles, although that is
They're pretty loose.
Yeah, they're pretty loose. But I do find that these buffer a little bit, like flap a bit. When the screen is down, not so much when it's up, weirdly.
Yeah, just dynamics.
But yeah, they do flap about a bit. Oh, one thing, Dad, that you've not actually probably seen. Have a look at that swing arm. What do you think of it? Because I've never seen a swing arm like this, and I think it looks really, really nice. Just like a bit different.
Looks a bit gooch, doesn't it?
Gooch. A bit Gucci.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they say that it's like lighter than a single-sided swing arm, and
it's lighter than a single-sided swing arm.
Apparently.
I've got to say, one thing I do like on this, as opposed to the GS, is the narrower end cam, the silencer.
It's very slimline, isn't it?
Yeah, I like that. I do like that.
Like quite flat. Let's have a look here. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that is a big lump in it. That looks more.
Yeah.
More
sporty. Do you know what that kind of reminds me of? Do you remember when you had the Super Adventure and you put the wings exhaust on?
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that a little bit.
Yeah. That's a standard cam.
Yeah, standard cam. Wow. Also, one thing as well. So with this, you've got your suspension settings, haven't you? So you've got, what have you got? You've got high, auto and low. Is that right?
Just got dynamic.
You're just bothered about having it in dynamic. But no,
lives in dynamic, that's it.
So for example, like if I was to jump on that, I'd put the suspension in low because it does, you feel it low, like obviously like semi-active suspension, all that jazz. And then you have the suspension settings of road and dynamic. Whereas on this one, you have 9 levels of adjustment for the suspension.
Yeah.
So you've obviously got your modes, which tailor the suspension to that specific mode. So if it's in sport, it'll be a bit firmer. If it's in like rain mode, it's going to be quite soft. Yeah. That is a strange range in that, isn't it? Yeah. But you do have 9 levels, so you can go from comfort all the way up to normal, all the way up to sport. Now I'm yet to sort of fanny around with the suspension settings, but so far with it just in sport mode, just, you know, not doing anything too technical, the suspension is lovely. It just absorbs bumps, it's not too firm, it's not too soft.
So, I mean, I suppose the big question is, and what could be a deal breaker for a lot of people is, what's the difference in cost?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Dad.
Or as the Germans would say, was kostet das?
Was kostet das, yeah. So I was going to move on to that because I think this might actually shock you a little bit. So I did some rough calculations. Now with the GS, I'm not going to price it as to what this one costs because it has a few Gucci things on it, like, you know, the seat, which is like £245 extra for the heated seat. You've got the spoke wheels as opposed to like alloy wheels, which they're like normally about £400 extra. So I'm just gonna tell you what the price is of the GS TE, so top spec, all singing, all dancing. You've both got hill hold, you've both got cruise control, you've both got all the good stuff basically, except this one doesn't have the, you know, blind spot detection, but again, that's not the end of the world. This one would cost £18,375. Yeah, just with a shit, we shouldn't let Mum watch this, should we, Dad? Don't let Mum watch this. Okay, but that is again just this bike in triple black with alloy wheels.
Can I tell you a quick story how I got in the shit?
Go on. Right. Talk to me, Goose.
I had a GS.
Yeah.
It got nicked.
Oh no.
Yeah, my silver one. It got nicked.
I remember that, yeah.
So Stevie goes to bike shop, want a new GS. Right, what about this adventure? Can't afford that. Well, we can do this and we can do that and we can do the other. Alright then. So I goes away, goes onto the police slush fund, which is the credit union, and I sorted my deal out for my bike. So I've got this swoopy GS adventure. Of course, what happens then, Saddam kicks off and I get sent out to the Gulf. And because I was a serving bobby, everything from the police stops. All your credit car, everything that you pay into the cops stops, and the army take over. So then the police come to your mum and say, right, these are a list of things that you've got to pay, and on it is the price of my new GS.
Oh no.
And she didn't say anything till I got home, and she said, how much did that bike cost? And I went, what do you mean? She said, it costs so much. I said, well, why did you ask me then? She said, it's only because you've been to war, I'm letting you off. It was like, got out of jail free with that one, but got caught out with that one.
Oh, that's so funny.
So these are what, 18?
So this a GS TE in triple black. So you get your Gucci mirrors, you get your black, you know, scheme.
Keep secrets from your wife.
You will get found out. £18,375. Now, if you were to buy a triple black GS Adventure, again, all I've done is the price of a GS Adventure with the triple black colours. That price is £19,540. How much do you think that one is? Or could you not hazard a guess? So bearing in mind it's the same height as the GS, but you've got the elements of the GSA with like that 30 litre tank, auxiliary lights are standard, crash bars are standard. Now to put something into perspective, Dad, if you wanted to spec this up with a heated seat, £245. If you wanted to put engine bars on this, you're looking at £360. And if you wanted auxiliary lights on the GS, you're looking at £370. So it kind of, with all that, takes it to the price of a GSA.
I was going to say probably somewhere in the middle of them both, of the GS, the Adventure, maybe.
Yeah.
You pitched it somewhere in the middle or something like that.
So what do you think roughly?
I don't know, man. They're good at maths.
I'm not that good at maths.
Might not be clever, but I can lift everything.
So you're thinking maybe top end of 18?
Yeah.
Maybe 19?
Yeah, under 19 grand.
Yeah, so this one, in the sapphire black, £18,300.
The same price as that.
Pretty much, yeah. This is like £75 more, but that's not including a heated seat, which you get a heated seat on that as standard. It's quite, I think it's quite good value for money.
It's not a bad deal, that, is it?
Given the fact that you've got, you know, 30 litre tank, fog lights are standard, crash bars are standard, heated seat, maybe I just touched on that. But yeah, it's not a bad price, really.
It's not a bad price. But again, it boils down to that age-old thing with us. Are you a BM man, are you a Triumph man, or whatever?
So as well, when it comes to riding it, again, I know that you haven't ridden the Triumph Tiger 1200. I find that, so in terms of horsepower, you've got pretty much just shy of 150 horsepower on that. You've got like 147.75 or very close to that, so it's pretty much 148. With this you've got 136, so you have probably got, you know, a little bit more sort of top end on that, but I do miss the grunt of that engine.
Well, I was going to say the different type of engines and a different delivery.
Yeah.
Nice looking bike, nice bit of kit. But I'm still on a BM. Yeah,
you love your BMs, don't you?
Yeah.
So Dad, I think it's safe to say that without actually riding the Triumph, you are still won over by your GS.
Oh yeah.
You just love it.
Yeah. It's an handsome looking bike, it's a good looking bike, and like I say, it's just purely down to personal taste.
Yeah. I wonder if your mind could be changed riding it, but I think you are one of these riders, just knowing you, who likes the grunt and the low down.
Yeah, I'm a twin man.
Yeah, so, but it would be interesting to see.
Yeah.
But guys, let me know in the comments below, do you have a preference just from what you've seen? Would you go GS or would you go Triumph Tiger? Let me know in the comments. But no, thank you for sharing your opinion, I appreciate it.
It's breakfast time now.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Let's go get some fodder.